Hello, my wonderful friends. Welcome back to IDontWorkHereLady, where clueless customers jump to all the wrong conclusions and chaos inevitably follows. Oh boy, today's episode is packed with some jaw-dropping encounters that'll have you shaking your head and laughing out loud. First, we've got a classic case of mistaken authority that ends with a police badge drop. The second story is a trip to the bathroom turns into a bizarre workplace accusation. And the third story, we'll meet a woman who Hulk smashes her way out of a scary confrontation in a wholesale store. Buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and get ready for today's wild ride. This one's titled, A Classic Wait for the Punchline. I actually witnessed this interaction yesterday while I was shopping at a local tech store, the one with the blue polo and tan khaki pants uniform style. Over in the next aisle was another customer, I'll call her customer 1, wearing a white button-up shirt and dark khaki pants. Her clothes were not the standard store dress code, but she looked professional. I guess I can partly understand why customer 2, who was soon to enter the story, assumed automatically that customer 1 was a manager. The exchange proceeded as follows. Customer 2, making a beeline for customer 1, says, "Thank God. I've been looking for a manager for 15 minutes. I've been having a problem with my..." Customer 1 interrupts and says, "Sorry, I don't work here. There should be a manager up front." Customer 2, flustered and a bit annoyed, says, "I've been waiting to find you for 20 minutes. You're not going to brush me off that easy." Now, about this return policy that you have, this escalates through several rounds of conversation, with customer 2 escalating her offense, disbelief, and general attitude of entitlement while getting really loud and confrontational, while customer 1 escalates in parallel, finally using her best crowd control voice as she pulls out the badge and identifies herself as an off-duty police officer. She then tells customer 2 that if she escalates this any further and causes more of a disturbance in the store full of customers, she'd have to take action and place her under arrest. Then customer 2's face turns various shades of red. She looks like she's about to have a heart attack, apologizes, and quickly turns the other way. And I got to be a witness to this amusing event. This one's titled, I'm in the bathroom = I work there. I was in the bathroom of a movie theater, and as I sat down, someone starts banging on the stall door. I yelled, "Occupied!" And then I hear a voice say, "I know that. Get out!" I'm confused, so after I do my thing, I come out, and there was this big lady staring me down. She says, "Finally, you took your sweet time." I responded, "Yeah," looking around to see other stalls that aren't in use, and started assuming that this was her favorite stall or something. She then says, "Well, aren't you going to clean this place up? It's disgusting." Note that the bathroom was actually clean, except for some stalls that had out-of-order signs on them. I looked confused and said, "No," walking over to the sink and washing my hands. She then says, "If you're going to be working here, you need to be cleaning the bathrooms and not just sitting in the stalls." I continued to ignore her and dry my hands. She then says, "Hey, don't ignore me." I responded, "I don't work here. I've seen you here a couple of times, so don't lie to me. Just because I come here a lot does not mean that I work here." I then proceeded to leave the bathroom and see that while I was in there, someone put a cleaning cart outside of it and put a sign down that said, "Bathroom closed for cleaning." I can see why she assumed that I was the one in there cleaning, but dang, why'd you have to be so rude to a real employee? This one's titled, Get Mistaken as an Employee, and I Turn into She-Hulk. One day after work, the boyfriend husband-to-be, referred to as BH, and I stopped in our local wholesale cellar. I like to go during the week since it's less crowded and noisy. I have PTSD and borderline personality disorder, so crowds and loud noises are hard for me to handle at times. The BH is not only my partner in life, but also acts as my emotional lifeline if I get triggered. Anywho, we'd been there for about 10 minutes when my bladder reminds me that having a large tea at about 3 p.m. might not have been the best idea, and we should probably find the restroom soon. I grab my cell phone but leave my jacket and purse with BH and head to the restroom. He walks me as far as he can and then waits in the book section that's about 20 feet away from where I duck into the washrooms. I was wearing a red dress shirt that day, but never in my dreams did I ever expect to be mistaken as an employee who wears a red vest. I'm on my way back to BH, who I can see about 20 feet away, when a woman, now to be referred to as Stupid Lady or SL, talks to me as I'm walking by her. The stupid lady says, "Do you know where some item is?" I replied, No, sorry," and I start along my merry way to BH. The stupid lady stands there dumbfounded and says, "Excuse me, why don't you want to help me?" Trigger 1, yelling at me. Yay, heart rate goes up, butterflies start in my stomach. I stop and turn back to her and just stare at her, thinking, what the heck? She walks up to me and practically snarls. She says, "Where do you think you're going?" She's like less than a foot away from me, leaning forward, very combative and aggressive stance. Trigger 2. Invade my personal space. I can feel my face growing hot and red as I get angry, scared, and panicked. I said, "Excuse me, why aren't you doing your job? Even if you're on break, you should be able to help me since I'm a customer." I then realized that she thinks I work there and I should probably defuse the situation and get myself out of there. So I do the stupidest thing I could have done and speak to her as I'm trying to get away from her and back to my boyfriend husband so I can calm down. I see him out of the corner of my eye as I start to turn that he's noticed me and coming towards me. I said, "Oh, sorry, I don't work." And then it happened. Trigger 3, grabbing my arm and pulling on it. "We have a winner, folks. She-Hulk is now engaged." Warning, yes, she actually grabbed onto me and pulled me so I couldn't leave, and the world for me disappeared completely. I'm told that I froze for a moment, shrieked, pushed her away from me, and then lunged at her with my hands out. Fortunately, BH has the reflexes of a cheetah, and managed to intercept me before I got a chance to rip her eyes or quite possibly her throat out. He gets me under control where I dissolve into tears. I've been crying now. There's several employees and managers there, but also security. I flip out and dissolve into apologies and tears again. I hear the stupid lady shrieking at the manager for hiring unstable people to work in the store, and she wants to press charges and sue the store. The manager is trying to get a word in edgewise that I actually don't work there. Word of note about BH, he's a goofball, loves to joke and kid around. He's the king of dry wit and bad puns, and he's always smiling. The stupid lady says I want her arrested and charged for assaulting me. Just wait until I speak to my lawyer. I'm gonna own your butt when I'm through with you. My boyfriend husband says, "Go ahead and call the police. It won't do you any good." The stupid lady turns to him and practically growls at him and says, "You stay out of this." He responds, "I won't." As I was saying, call the police. I want to press charges on behalf of my wife against this woman for assaulting her, pointing at the red marks on my arms where her nails scratched and dug in. She then said, "I did no such thing." BH responds, "You did." There are like 5 or 6 cameras pointed in this area. My wife tried to leave, and this woman grabbed her and pulled her back so hard that she's left marks on her. My wife, who has PTSD, was triggered by that and tried to fight back. She had no control, and we have documentation from her doctors in regards to that if you need it. The stupid lady then says, "Well, this store shouldn't be employing people with mental issues where they can hurt normal people. She should be locked up." Listen, you stupid ignorant biatch. If you get your head out of your butt for even a microsecond, you'd have realized that she does not work here, and you've criminally assaulted another customer. The manager says, "I tried to explain that to you." The stupid lady then dissolves into apologies and is trying to backpedal her butt out of there before she gets herself into even more trouble, and she backpedals into the police officers the store had called just to make an already long story a little bit shorter. We explained our side, she explained hers, and the manager showed the video, and the stupid lady got a nice new pair of stainless steel bracelets. As for me, I got a trip to the emergency room to help calm down and some lovely anti-anxiety meds, and I was a zombie for about a week and then a nervous wreck for about 3 months after. Stupid lady made a deal and got off on probation, and we got victims' compensation. Unfortunately, I couldn't go back into that store for over a year without anxiety medication. This one's titled A Glimpse into the Mind of a Customer. So this was about a week ago. I wear a lot of polos since I work in a call center, and usually after work I go to the local supermarket to pick up something for lunch or dinner. I've been mistaken for an employee multiple times and it's usually not a problem, but on that day a week ago, something magical happened. I was there looking at Shadow Milk, deciding if I wanted root beer, cotton candy, or just plain old chocolate. Shadow Milk is one of my favorite things, and as I'm standing there in indecision, I'm approached by a customer. The customer says, "Excuse me, sir, but can you help me? I'm looking for..." And then he trails off and then says, "Blue milk." I replied, "Oh yeah, it's cotton candy flavored, it's great." The customer looks suspicious about something, inspects the milk closer, then looks to me and says, "You like it? I bet it's filled with toxic chemicals. It's probably super harmful, especially for kids." Are you making assumptions based just off the color of the drink? The customer stares at me for a moment, her look slowly turning into a glare, and then she says, "Where's your manager? I need to talk to them." I replied, "I don't work here." The customer is then confused, looking at my shirt for a lanyard or name tag or something. I then grab the blue and banana milk, assuming that my point is made. The customer then says, "So you're telling me you don't have a manager to report to?" I asked, "Who's your manager?" The customer responds, "I don't work here." What would make you think that? Now you're getting it. And I put the milk in my cart and go about my day. Throughout the rest of the time I was there shopping, each time I saw her she gave me the stink eye. Would have told this story sooner, but I just found this subreddit. I hope you like it. This one's titled, "I Don't Work Here, Lady, and no, I'm not here to babysit your kid, a playground Karen. I live in an apartment block with my wife and kid. Down the road is a restaurant, bar, pokies, machine, entertainment venue. It's quite large. Picture the place you take the family for cheap, good meals and a beer. There are two cool things about this place. First, you have to be a member, just sign up for a small fee. Second, for my kid, it has a playground. Given the membership deal, it's pretty much a fantastic private playground for her 80% of the time we go. It's in a closed-off area, extra safe, with no way a child could run off or fall from something. I take her there all the time. I need to mention that there's one part in this playground that's like a room at the top where a few small kids can sit. So, I take my kid, and she's playing happily. Then this other kid pops in. I see him play on some stuff and disappear among the playground equipment. 20 minutes later, I hear a Karen running frantically looking for someone. She looks at me and asks if I've seen a kid with a specific description. I'm like, yeah, I think he's in here somewhere. Then she starts berating me, saying that I should have told her he's been in here so long. I'm scrunching my face up, all confused, like, what? She then wants me to crawl through the playground to get him from the large room, saying he's probably crying up there. I said no, and she gets even more furious. She called me the most useless staff member she's ever met. So I say, "Ma'am, I don't work here, lady." I ask, "So you want me to supervise your kid and keep you updated on him? There are like 100 people in here right now, and the sign says children must be supervised at all times." She's in the corner, huffing on the ropes, awkwardly trying to get her plus-sized body through the playground to fetch her kid. She comes down and says, "You left him up there all scared." I say, "Lady, you did that. I'm not your babysitter. How would I even know whose kid is up there with heaps of people here? He's your responsibility." She literally turns her cheek and says, "You're horrible." I reply, "Yeah, and you're a great mum." This story's titled, "Yes, Demand the Heavily Pregnant Woman Lift Your 30-pound Bag of Dog Food into Your Cart." I'm a vendor at many stores. I go in and put up a few signs or place stickers on products. Super easy work. Anyway, months back, I was about 8 months pregnant with my second daughter, and I was doing my job in a local grocery store putting up some signs. As I was in the pet aisle, I noticed this woman glaring at me. I removed my headphones and she says, "I said I need that dog food." I replied, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't work for this store." She said, "So? I need help. You need to put this in my cart." She was getting increasingly angry. I replied, "No, ma'am, I'm sure there's an employee nearby, but I do not work for store name." She says, "Well, who do you work for so I can complain?" As she's staring at my name badge hanging in front of my huge pregnant stomach. I notified the store manager, and he apologized to me. I also called my manager just in case she actually tried to complain to my company. I never heard anything else about it. Some people are just too entitled. "Oh, you don't work at this store? Well, where do you work so I can complain?" People out there need to get their act together. This one's titled, "Just because I'm nice doesn't mean I work here." My ex-wife used to work at Walmart. The store was open from 7 in the morning to 11 at night most days, except for holidays and New Year's, when they closed early at 6 in the evening. One New Year's Eve, she was working until closing. I was off that day, and we had plans to go to a party, so we decided I would meet her after work and we would leave from there. I got to the store at 6 o'clock on the dot. They were already turning away customers and locking the doors. Anyone already inside got to finish checking out, then had to leave. I knew the manager, so I asked if I could wait inside the doors until my wife was done with work. It was fairly cold and snowing out, so he said, "No problem." At this location, they had in and out doors that worked regardless of which side you were standing on, so they had to lock both of those doors and were letting people out through the emergency exit door located between them, which could only be opened from the inside. I was standing off to the side by the exit doors. As people tried to leave, they would head to the exit doors, see them locked, stand there for a second, unsure what to do, and then head to the emergency exit door. Once they locked the doors, there was no staff out front directing anyone where to exit. I decided to be nice, since I knew most of the staff and was already standing there anyway. When people came out, I let them know that the big door was locked, and they had to use the middle door. Apparently, everyone had decided to come in just before closing, and it took at least 45 minutes to clear out the store. At about 6:40 or so, a Karen comes and bangs on the door right behind me. At first I just ignored her, but it sounded like she was going to smash the glass doors, so I turned to her. She says, "Please, I need to get in. It's an emergency." I replied, "I'm sorry, they're closed." She then said, "Please, my kid needs his medication. I need to get in. Where's your manager?" I told her, "I'm sorry, I don't work here, just waiting for my wife." One of the last customers comes out of the store and heads right for the locked door. I said the same thing I'd been saying all night. "Hey, sorry, the big doors are locked. You're going to have to use the small one right there." They said, "Okay, thank you." No sooner do they open the door than the Karen pushes past them, not even letting them out first, and walks straight up to the second set of doors, which are also locked. She turns to me and yells, "Unlock these doors now!" I said to her, "Like I said, I don't work here, and they closed 45 minutes ago." The manager sees the commotion and comes out. He says, "Hey, sorry, we're closed." Karen tells him, "Please, I just need to pick up a few more things and I'll be right out. My child's very sick." The manager told her, "Sorry, all the registers are closed and that was the last customer of the night. We open again on Monday at 7 in the morning." She points to me and says, "Your employee opened the door and let me in and told me I could get my shopping done tonight." The manager looks at me and I just shake my head. "Ma'am, he doesn't work here, and honestly, I don't think he's moved from that spot for the last hour," the manager says. Karen told him, "Yes, he does. I've seen him direct a bunch of customers to the proper exit door." The manager asks me if that's true, and I said, "Yeah, no one was out here, and the customers were getting confused." The manager extends his hand to me. I walk over to shake it, and he says, "That must have been a bit of an oversight on our end, but I appreciate you helping us out." I told him, "No problem." Then Karen says, "Please, I'll level with you. I'm throwing a party tonight. It was a last-minute thing and I forgot to get supplies. I really just need to get in there for a few minutes, that's all." The manager told her that the lights had just been shut off, so it's against safety regulations for her to even be in there, and he can't let her in. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Luckily for her, I lived down the street, so I knew the area fairly well. I told her there's a variety store just across the street. They're open 24/7 every day, even Christmas, so they should be open right now. What I didn't tell her was that my ex and I referred to this place as the emergency variety because everything there was 3 times the normal price. So, I hope she enjoyed the $10 bag of chips and the $3 cans of soda. Good old lying Karen. I love how her story went from, "I need my child's medication, it's an emergency," to actually, "I need chips, supplies, and alcohol for a party." Well, she's not totally wrong. For myself, a lot of the time, chips and alcohol are medication in an adult's life. This story's titled, "Not My Dog." I commute by bike and take the bus. I've been doing this for 5 years. At the end of my day, I ride to the bus stop, stand by a tree, and get my stuff ready for a few minutes before getting on the bus. On this day, I was standing there and a lady with earbuds comes up to me, screaming and waving her hands at me to take care of my dog. I was puzzled. There was a black dog walking behind her, and it passed her, came over to me, sniffed my hand, and was basically sweet to me. I kept telling her, "This is not my dog," over and over. She couldn't hear me because she wouldn't take her earbuds out. She left, and the dog walked around the corner to a bench. A different lady who was sitting on the bench flipped out and screamed at me to get my dog away from her. Once again, I kept saying, "This is not my dog," over and over. As I did this, though, I watched her body language and realized she must be terrified. I asked her, "Are you afraid of dogs?" She cried, "Yes." I calmly told her that I would keep the dog away from her, but it wasn't my dog. This dog was so nice and super friendly, with no tags but a harness. We were near a busy road and I didn't want the dog to get hit by a car. I looked around the neighborhood and saw a young girl in her car in a driveway. I asked her if she could take the dog and call animal control or something to keep the dog safe until its owner could be found. She was so kind, and the dog just loved her. She took him for me. I love animals and kept thinking about this dog for the next 2 days, hoping it was safe, warm, fed, and given love. About 3 days later, I was at the same bus stop and saw a nice man walking what looked like the same dog. I asked him about it, and he said, "Yes, I lost my dog a few days ago." I told him I was the one who found it. I was so happy to know the dog made it home. And these are my thoughts on the stories. Story 1, a classic wait for the punchline. This story is a delightful slice of instant karma. Customer 2's relentless insistence that Customer 1 is a manager despite being corrected is peak entitlement. I love how Customer 1, an off-duty police officer, handles the escalating confrontation with calm authority, pulling out her badge to shut it down. The image of customer two's face turning red as she realizes her mistake is pure gold. It's a perfect example of someone digging their own grave with their attitude, and the officer's threat of arrest was the ideal mic drop moment. Short, sweet, and satisfying. Story 2. I'm in the bathroom equals I work there. The absurdity of this one had me chuckling. The lady banging on the stall door and demanding the narrator clean the bathroom, despite other stalls being available, is next-level entitlement. I admire the narrator's restraint in just ignoring her and calmly stating, "I don't work here," even as she doubles down with her "I've seen you here before" logic. The cleaning cart mix-up explains her assumption, but her rudeness is inexcusable. It's a classic case of someone jumping to conclusions and looking foolish, and I wish the real employees had seen her attitude. Story 3. Get mistaken as an employee and I turn into She-Hulk. This story is intense and heartbreaking. The stupid lady's aggressive behavior, yelling, invading personal space, and grabbing the narrator's arm, is outrageous, especially considering the narrator's PTSD. The escalation to She-Hulk mode is understandable, and I'm relieved her boyfriend-husband intervened to de-escalate. His sharp comeback, using the security footage to turn the tables and threaten charges, is brilliant. The lady's backpedaling when faced with consequences is so satisfying, though I feel for the narrator's trauma aftermath. This is a powerful reminder that entitled behavior can have serious repercussions. Story 4. A glimpse into the mind of a customer. This one's a lighthearted gem. The customer's bizarre leap from asking for blue milk to accusing the narrator of endorsing toxic chemicals is wild, and her insistence on speaking to a manager is classic Karen behavior. The narrator's witty response, "Now you're getting it," after flipping the "Who's your manager?" question back at her is perfect. The ongoing stink-eye encounters add a hilarious touch. It's a short, clever story of diffusing entitlement with quick thinking and a bit of humor. Story 5. I don't work here, lady, and no, I'm not here to babysit your kid, a playground Karen. This story is infuriating yet triumphant. The Karen's audacity in expecting the narrator to supervise her kid on a busy playground, then berating him for not doing so, is mind-boggling. I love how he stands his ground, pointing out the sign about parental supervision and calling her out on her neglect. The image of her struggling through the playground equipment to retrieve her kid is both comical and deserved. His sharp retort, "You're a great mum," is the perfect zinger to cap off this tale of shutting down entitlement. Story 6. Yes. Demand the heavily pregnant woman lift your 30-pound bag of dog food into your cart. The nerve of this woman demanding a heavily pregnant vendor lift a 30-pound bag of dog food is beyond comprehension. The narrator's polite refusal and quick action to notify managers show professionalism under pressure. The customer's threat to complain about someone who doesn't even work for the store is peak entitlement, and I'm glad the store manager had her back. This story highlights how some people's selfishness knows no bounds, and the narrator's calm handling of it is admirable. Story 7. Just because I'm nice doesn't mean I work here. This one's a mix of frustration and petty satisfaction. The narrator's kindness in directing customers to the correct exit, only to be mistaken for an employee by a lying Karen, is so relatable. Her shifting story from needing medication for her sick kid to admitting it's for a party is laughably transparent. I love that the narrator's local knowledge led her to the overpriced emergency variety store, ensuring she paid a premium for her deception. The manager's support and the handshake for helping out add a wholesome touch to this tale of outsmarting a manipulator. Story 8. Not my dog. This story is more heartwarming than vengeful, but it's still a great lesson in assumptions. The two women yelling at the narrator about a stray dog, ignoring his repeated "this is not my dog," is frustrating, especially the second lady's fear-driven outburst. His compassion in ensuring the dog's safety, finding someone to take it, and later confirming it reunited with its owner is truly admirable. The lack of apologies from the accusers is annoying, but the narrator's focus on the dog's well-being makes this a feel-good story with a subtle jab at entitled behavior. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed these stories today. If you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories. See you guys in the next one.